Humanitarian agencies are evacuating people from the besieged Syrian city of Homs as a ceasefire between the government and the opposition is extended for another 3 days. Peace talks resumed in Geneva this week to try and end the war that's plunged the region into chaos. Neighboring Lebanon is one of the countries worst affected, with not only the deadly violence, but also a radical ideology that's spilling over the border. RT's Maria Fanoshina reports on the shocking revelations on who's joining the rebels from across the Syrian border.
As the Syrian conflict rages on, neighboring Lebanon faces a dramatic increase in sectarian violence. In January alone, 4 car bombs killed dozens in Beirut and in the town of Hermel next to the Syrian border. The targets were Shia areas controlled by Hezbollah, Lebanon's most influential force, which also supports Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. We travelled to the northern city of Tripoli, a Sunni stronghold vehemently opposing Hezbollah.
Hezbollah committed a massive crime in Syria, and it's a time to pay back.
Hezbollah's military involvement in Syria is believed to have given Damascus the upper hand in the battle and has deeply angered Assad's enemies.
Do you think we're going to see more explosions like this one?
Lots of it, yeah.
Anything I can do for our Sunni brothers, anything I can do for our Syrian brothers, I will do. Anything I can do for these people suffering from injustice, I will do.
Anything.
The Al-Qaeda-affiliated Al-Nusra Front claimed responsibility for those recent deadly bombings, just days before a man calling himself an Al-Qaeda commander announced via YouTube that the group had put down roots in Lebanon. People we've met on the ground deny belonging to either of these groups, but don't hide the fact that they share their views.
Al-Qaeda كتنظيم, no.
There is no Al-Qaeda as an organization anymore, but Al-Qaeda as an ideology. And it doesn't need money to spread. It spreads by itself, everywhere in the world, not only in Lebanon, but in America, Britain, Serbia.
Here, radical ideas are bred from a young age. Fighters here call Al-Qaeda's bin Laden a teacher and their fight jihad. When 23-year-old Ahmed returned from Syria, where he joined the Free Syrian Army, he continued his jihad here in Lebanon.
I target the district where Shia live.
Tripoli is divided into Sunni and Shia parts, ironically, by the street called Syria. 2 years ago, we filmed on that street.
A street in the city of Tripoli separates Alawite and Sunni neighborhoods in this part of North Lebanon, running like a border between those who support the Syrian president and his regime and those who want him out.
Today, we can't get close, with clashes intensifying. Who do you fight against? Who is your enemy?
I'm Mujahideen. I fight against infidels, those who don't carry the flag of Allah.
Lebanon is probably the worst spillover of the Syrian conflict, and while the world is hoping for peace to come back to that Middle East country, war seems to only spread further on.
People here seem to be used to seeing fighters carry sniper rifles through busy markets. They tell us everybody here has a weapon and is ready to fight.
Dozens of people come to this camp outside Tripoli every day to train. Local commanders told us that it doesn't take more than a week for someone with zero experience to become a real fighter.
A week's training and you are in for a lifetime of obedience.
There are 3 rules for those who want to become Mujahideen. You have to forget about money and be ready to die or to be arrested, and to accept that no one will take care of you or your family.
Black jihadi flags on the walls, weapons on the floor. This is the life of a true fighter. It's tough and the rules are strict. But Haj Ziyad, who introduced himself as a Tripoli Sunni leader, says many youths are willing to join.
From now until I grow up, I'm ready to defend myself. I'm ready to kill Alawites and Syrian army.
And you're ready to kill for
Yes.
And while the Syrian conflict expands, a legion of fighters armed with deadly weapons and an even deadlier ideology is on the rise. Maria Fanoshina, RT, from Lebanon.
On the ground in Syria, Al-Qaeda fighters have captured the town of Man in central Syria. Human rights activists say at least 40 civilians were killed in the attack. More than half of the dead were said to be women and children. Publisher of Trends Journal, Gerald Celente, says curbing radical ideology is more difficult than ending fighting on the ground.
So who is this Al-Qaeda? Is Al-Qaeda the guy that Prime Minister Tony Blair and President Bush said that Saddam Hussein had ties to? Or is it the Al-Qaeda that weren't the dangerous or die-hard Al-Qaeda or dangerous Islamists? So we don't really know who these people are. But from what I see and from what I know, from what I read and from what I learn, these are just disparate gangs of murderers and criminals. It's a moral issue, not a military issue, and that's the only way it's going to be solved.